Yeah, I mean, it depends on who else you have, but I think he's viable, certainly. Do I start Elijah Moore or James Conner? James Conner, definitely. Do I trade Miles Sanders and Allen Robinson for Elijah Mitchell? I would do that. We love a short king. I don't know what that means. I always see people saying that. Is it like a joke? I don't know what that means. Trade Dalvin Cook for Gaskin, Carter, and Thielen. I would rather Dalvin Cook. Yo, what up, people? What up? What up? What up, Raider? Yo, Mike White or Taylor Heineke for QB2? I have Taylor Heineke. What up, Tyler? Yo, what up, Ozai? Should trade Kyler for Brady. I would take Brady, yeah. Chubb, Henderson, or Montgomery rest of the season. I would take Henderson. I already had his bye. Or no, he didn't have his bye, but I would take Henderson. Yo, what's up, Tyler? Yo, what up, Ryan? Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins? I would go with Russell Wilson. Start Deshaun Jackson Sunday. I mean, it depends on who you have. Good evening, chat. Yo, what's up? Should I trade Kyler for Brady? Yes, I would. Should I trade Pittman and Melvin Gordon for Tyreek and Chris Carson? Yeah, I would do that trade. Would you trade Saquon and Devonte Adams for CMC and Deontay Johnson? Yeah, I would probably do that trade. Yo, what's up? And if you're over on TikTok, come on over to YouTube. It's not as busy. Get your questions answered. All you got to do is click on my profile. Go to my, in the description, you're going to see my link tree. My link tree will take you over to my YouTube channel. So profile, description, link tree, over to my YouTube channel. Come on over, get your questions answered. Also hit that follow button. I do TikTok live only streams as well. All right, so you guys see Keenan Allen didn't practice at all today. Don't worry about the injury report today. Unless it's for Thursday night, then worry about it. But like otherwise, don't worry about it. Fournette or Elijah Mitchell? I would go with Fournette. Chubb or Henderson, and why? I would go with Henderson because he's involved in the passing game, whereas Chubb isn't. Hurts or Kyler rest of the season? I would go with Kyler. If Antonio Brown plays, should I start him over Adam Thielen? No, I wouldn't. What's a good trade target for Mike Williams? It's really hard for me to say. Like those ones are always really hard. What I would do is just I would take Mike Williams, look for a team that needs a wide receiver, and try to send trade offers. Hurts or Kyler rest of the year? Kyler. Do I trade Tyreek and Gibson for Monty, Jay Connor, and Lockett? Yeah, I would do that 100%. I got OBJ to the Patriots. I think it could definitely happen. Thielen or Hollywood? I would go with Hollywood. Is Wentz a startable QB1 for the rest of the season? I would say like a high-end QB2, like a lower-end QB1, yeah, in that range. CD for Diggs? I'd rather have CD. James Conner and Michael Pittman in my flex. I would go with James Conner. Mike Williams or DJ Moore? This week I would go... I got to double-check my rankings. Hold on. Let me see. I want to say DJ Moore. DJ Moore, yes. I have DJ Moore higher. Trade James Conner, Elijah Mitchell, and Devonte Smith for Devonte Adams. All three are on my bench. Man, that's a lot to give up for just Devonte Adams. I probably wouldn't. I mean, I guess if you're looking to just upgrade the position, sure, but that's a lot to give up for Devonte Adams. You aren't going to get anything from Mike Williams right now. Hold him until he has a mediocre. Yeah, I mean, I would do the same, yeah. But if you're looking to absolutely trade him, like I was looking to trade Gibson a couple weeks ago, and I feel like his value is really low. And I got James Conner out of it. I got James Conner, Jalen Hurts, and for Michael Carter and Antonio Gibson. I mean, I feel like I definitely hit on that one. Now that, well, Jalen Hurts has not been very good over the past couple of weeks, but James Conner looks like an RB1 until further notice. Hope you're doing well, Tyler. Only one question for this week. Melvin Gordon or CeeDee Lamb at flex, PPR. Yo, what's up, Parker? How you doing? I'm doing good. I would go with CeeDee Lamb. Dominic, for flex, we got Kyle Pitts or Hunter Renfrow or Damian Harris if healthy. Give me a 1-2-3 place. All right, so I would go if it's PPR league. If it's PPR scoring, I would go with Kyler, or I would go with Kyle, Damian Harris, Renfrow is what I would do. Somehow I traded Mike Will for CD. Beautiful. I mean, I think that you could definitely have done that in the beginning of the season. Start Bateman for Ayuk. I would do that. I would go with Bateman over Ayuk, yeah. Would you hold on to Cook or try to get a good value pick now just in case? No, I would hold on to him. All right, here's because I feel like I'm going to get a lot of questions about this. I was thinking about making a video on this. So here are my thoughts on Dalvin Cook real quick. All right. These are my thoughts. The civil case with Dalvin Cook, it's a civil case. It's not a criminal case. So I think the NFL is definitely going to take their time to be able to do something about this. I mean, just take a look at what's going on with Deshaun Watson right now. You have Deshaun Watson. I feel like it's a perfect example. Deshaun Watson has all these women come out against him, right? NFL has not done anything. He's not even on the commissioner's exempt list right now. He's just not playing football because he doesn't want to be playing for the Houston Texans. That's why. So what I think is going to happen with the Dalvin Cook is the same thing. Like, they're not going to do anything with Dalvin Cook. They're going to let this run its course. And then once it gets to like the trial or the, whatever they're going to do, the court case or whatever, then the NFL will make a decision. They'll probably also launch their own probe into the situation. So I don't expect anything to happen this season. Next season is what I expect. Tua looking good for tomorrow night. They said they're going to test it in pregame, so I don't know. So have you looked into any of the Dalvin stuff? Hopefully that answers your question, what I said. I have looked at it today. Josh Allen or Justin Herbert? I would go with Josh Allen. Kyler or Dak this week? Dak for me. Thoughts on two straight disappointing weeks for Schultz? I mean, listen, Blake Jarwin's on IR. This offense is gonna play better, especially this week. Fire him up. Real quick, I do want to say, if you haven't already, do me a big favor, smash that like button. Also, if you're on TikTok, come on over to YouTube. It's not as busy. Get your questions answered. All you got to do is click on my profile, go to my link tree. My link tree will take over to my YouTube channel. So come on over, get your questions answered. Once again, profile, link tree, YouTube channel. And if you're on YouTube, smash that like button for me. Really appreciate it. Mitchell and Evans for Kamara. I honestly probably would keep Mitchell and Evans right now, just because Kamara seems like he's actually dealing with a high ankle sprain, they said. So that's not very good. Now, I would want to definitely keep Kamara until we get better, a better sense of what's going on. But yeah. Trade away Mitchell and Mike Williams for Debo and Dylan. Wide receivers are now A.J. Brown, Debo, Gallup, Ayuk, and Bateman. WRL. That's a W, I think. I like that trade. Drop a membership only for $2.99 a month, and all questions are answered. NPR gets it. NPR, yo, shout out to NPR. Thank you. Devontae Freeman, a viable flex this week. Yes, I do think he's a viable flex this week. Yes, I do think so. And we had a $1 donation from Angel. Angel, appreciate the $1 donation. Thank you. And we also have a $5 donation from Cam. Appreciate the $5 donation. Pick one. Elijah Moore or A.J. Dillon. All right. If it's full point PPR, I would go with Elijah Moore. Otherwise, I would go with A.J. Dillon. I think he's going to be really involved in this offense this week in a really beatable matchup against Seattle. So I like A.J. Dillon. Otherwise, if it's PPR, I would go with Elijah Moore. Appreciate the $5 donation. All right, Ryan, I got Josh Allen, Najee, Eckler, Justin Jefferson, Pitts, Lamb playing against Lamar, Chubb. Should I be worried at all, especially at Lamar? I mean, I think it's going to... I think really, I wouldn't say worried, but it's going to be like a closer matchup, I think, this week. Yes. I think it's going to be close. I had the opportunity to trade for Connor when Edmonds comes back. Will they remain to split? Yeah, I think when Edmonds comes back. But when Edmonds comes back is the question. Zach Moss if he plays or Russell Gage. I would go Zach Moss if he plays. Pick up Pat Freiermuth off of waivers. Absolutely. And real quick, if you want your questions answered 100% of the time, sign up to be a member. All you got to do is, I'll type in the chat. All you got to do is type in exclamation membership. It will pop up. You can sign up to be a member. It's as low as $2.99 is what you sign up for the month. You get your questions answered 100% of the time. Sign up to be a member. Also, super chats are available to guarantee your questions get answered. What about Connor, Mitchell, and Smith for Cooper Kupp? I mean, I'd rather take the other side right now, but I like Cooper Kupp's fine. If you're just looking to upgrade at a position, sure. I think that's fine. Tyler, are you worried about the Cowboys after the loss? No, I'm not. I think they'll bounce back. Thoughts on Wilson first week back? I mean, I'm firing him up. Trade Lamb for Diggs? I'd rather have Lamb. Kamara and Kittle for Taylor? No, I wouldn't. Robert Woods versus San Francisco or James Conner? I would go James Conner. What's Mark Ingram's value if Kamara misses time? I would say he's an RB2. A volume-dependent RB2. Is DK a wide receiver 1 if Wilson plays? Absolutely. 100% he's a wide... So, him and Tyler Lockett are both, like, wide receiver 1s. You think Javonte Williams will break out of the backfield or stay 50-50? I think he'll stay 50-50, but he's producing, and there's really good matchups coming up. Yo, time to rebuild. For who? Trade Lamb for Swift, PPR, dub or L. I mean, I think that's a dub. Kittle or Knox? Kittle. Do you like James Robinson or Chris Carson the rest of the season? James Robinson for me. Trade Hill and trade for James Robinson? Yeah, I would. I mean, I think that's fine. I would do that. Thielen and OBJ for Aaron Jones and Jerry Jeudy? Absolutely Aaron Jones side. 100%. I have a good team, and I'm fine. Hey, sometimes that happens. Right now, I think I'm 3-6, and I have a really good team as well. I'm second in total points. Sometimes it happens. Don't forget to like. Yes, don't forget to smash that like button. Really appreciate it. I won my 0.4. I won by 0.4 this week because the Steelers defense almost threw my game, and Najee was the savior. I mean, he was good. Could have been better. Gibson and Lamb for Tyreek. Yeah, I'd probably do that. Which one have flex? Dearness Johnson, Jerry Jeudy, Bateman, Myers, or Gordon? I would go with Dearness as long as Chubb is out. Otherwise, Melvin Gordon. The Madden rebuild, silly. Oh, okay. Yeah. I remember that. The Madden rebuild. I got you. The Texans rebuild. Yes. Pick 2. We got D-Hop, Woods, Patterson, Pittman. I would go with pick 2, Patterson, and Pittman. Start 3. We got Eckler, Patterson, Swift, Connor, and J-Rob. My gosh. I would go Eckler, Swift, and Connor. Do I play Singletary, Michael Carter, or Antonio Gibson? I would go with, if I had to pick one, if what's his face is out. If you have Zach Moss out, I would go Singletary. Otherwise, I would go Michael Carter. I mean, just because you put a bunch of emotes in the chat doesn't mean I'm going to answer the question. I'm sorry. Do I play Singletary, Michael Carter, Antonio Gibson? Once again, if Zach Moss is out, Singletary. Otherwise, I would go with Carter. Should I trade Pitts and James Robinson for Kittle? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that, no. Which one should I try to trade for? Zeke, Debo, or Justin Jefferson? Zeke, absolutely. Can I trust Damian Harris as an RB2 till Chubb is back? Yes, you can. Fading Hurts this week for Ryan Bridgewater or Tua? No, I'd fire up Hurts. I have to start James Conner, right? I would definitely. I mean, I think James Conner is an RB1, yes. What's a fair trade for Najee Harris? I mean, if you're trading Najee, you better be getting you're getting top tier stuff. He's an RB1 for the rest of the way. He's a top 5 running back. Pitts or Kittle rest of the season? Honestly, I don't see much of a difference between these two guys. I'd probably go with Pitts just because there's less competition there for Pitts. So I'd probably go with him. It's really close though. Firing up Renfro this week after last week. Also, he's been one of the most consistent wide receivers. No, I think he's a good play this week as well. Kittle or Knox? Kittle, thoughts on Swift the rest of the season? I mean, if you're in full point PPR, keep firing him up. He's a top 10 guy. Thoughts on Swift? No, I already got that one. Thielen and OBJ for Aaron Jones and Jerry Jeudy. If you're getting the Aaron Jones side and Jerry Jeudy, absolutely. Pick 2. We got Jeudy, Claypool, or Kirk. I would go Jerry Jeudy, and I would go with Claypool. Is JT a possible RB1 next year? Yeah, I think he could be the possible RB1. It definitely depends on how this year finishes, but right now, I mean, definitely he could be RB1. Absolutely. DJ Moore, Rashad Bateman. I would go with DJ Moore still. Thielen and OBJ for Aaron Jones and Jerry Jeudy. Once again, I would go with the Aaron Jones side. Yes. DJ Moore, I already got that one. Is Patterson a must start every single week? Yes. I would say he's, in PPR leagues, absolutely I would say a top 14 running back is currently. I have him right in that range. You think OBJ hasn't signed yet because he hasn't gotten any good offers? So yeah, okay. Here are my thoughts on OBJ. I just don't think he wants to go to New Orleans, and I don't think he wants to go to New England. I think that they're offering him decent offers right now, but he doesn't really want to go there. He's not getting that good of offers, I don't think, from teams like Kansas City, Green Bay. What's the other one? Seattle. I don't think he's getting that good of offers from these teams right now, so that's why he's kind of holding out, maybe to get a little bit of a better offer to go to one of these teams, or just kind of making up his mind. Does he want to play for a contender, or does he want money? I think that's honestly what he's waiting. I have no idea, but that's just my thoughts. Does OBJ want a ring or want money? Exactly. That's what I think it comes down to. Tyreek Hill, Lamb, Godwin, pick 2. I would go with Tyreek and Lamb. Melvin Gordon or Waddle or Jerrell if CEH doesn't play. I would go with Melvin Gordon there. I would go with Melvin Gordon. Should I look to trade Damian Harris? I mean, here's the motto. Always be sending. Okay, that's the motto. Always be sending. Always be sending trade offers. Everybody on your team should be available for the right price. Always be sending. I'm gonna trademark that. Always be sending. Kittle or Knox? Kittle. If he wants money, Pats and Saints are probably the best landing spots. I agree. I think it comes down to what he wants to do. Oh, thirsty. Also, if you're over on TikTok, come on over to YouTube. Get your questions answered. All you got to do is click on my profile, go to my link tree. My link tree will take you over to my YouTube channel. So, profile, description is my link tree. My link tree will take you over to my YouTube channel. All right, thoughts on AP? He's a plotter that you hope falls in the end zone. Otherwise, you're going to get like 2 points, 4 points maybe. That's how I view AP. Knox or Pitts rest of the season? Pitts for me. If he lands on the Chiefs and Packers, that'll be a good for him because he's finally has a role with a good quarterback. Probably, yeah, I agree. I think that'll be a good spot for him. Definitely. In terms of real life football, absolutely. I meant pick 2, Jerry Jeudy, Claypool, DJ Moore, Kirk. I would go with Jerry Jeudy and Moore. Should I trade for Burrow or Mahomes? He has both. I mean, I would definitely try to trade for Mahomes, but it's probably going to be more expensive. Dearness Johnson, Henderson, or Swift. If I had to pick one, I would go with Swift. Actually, I would go with Henderson this week. Unless it's full point PPR, then give me Swift. Same thing with McNichols. So McNichols, I just think is more valuable in PPR, where you're not going to have to always rely on like a touchdown. Like he's going to have gains where he's going to be more involved. Like they're not going to blow out every single team every single week. Like this week, they're going to have to pass the ball a little bit more. So I think McNichols is much better for PPR leagues. I don't know why he wants to go to Seattle. He literally is the wide receiver team, but because Seattle would be a really good team if he goes there. Smith or Ayuk? Smith or Ayuk? Is that Devonte Smith? I would go Devonte Smith. Should I use Justin Jefferson or Debo to trade for Zeke? If I had to pick one, I would go with. I feel like I would honestly go with Debo just because of his health right now. Pick 2, we got Bateman or Jacoby Myers or Marvin Jones or Ayuk. I would go with Bateman and Marvin Jones. It's really, really close between him and Ayuk, though. If Debo misses, I would definitely go Ayuk there, though. Weird question, but if Mike Williams was on a team like the Saints or Pats, would he be a wide receiver 1 for both fantasy and real life? No, I don't think so. I don't think Mike Williams is just a good football. Like I think he's an average football player, to be honest with you. Deontay or Hollywood at flex? I got to see which one I have. I want to say Hollywood. I think I have Hollywood higher. It's probably actually really close. I have him 1 spot higher. 1 spot higher. So Hollywood over Deontay, really close. Wilson or Hurts, even. So Wilson, what are my quarterback rankings? I would go with Jalen Hurts. It's really close between those two as well. I would go with Hurts just because the rushing upside, I said it in my buy and sell video or my buy video that Hurts attempted 17 passing attempts, yet he scored 17 points, right? Like that's just that's the floor that you're getting with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback. Like the dude attempted 17 passing attempts and he still scored 17 points in fantasy football. Like he just has a massive floor because of that rushing upside. This is going to be a game where they're definitely going to have to rely on Jalen Hurts more. You think that streak at the starts was a fluke? He was starting to fall originally. I drafted him not knowing who he was, to be honest. Wait, what do you mean? Mike Williams, you mean? You think Freeman be the starter when Murray comes back? No, I think Murray will go back to being the starter. I think it's just going to be a timeshare. So fire up Freeman this week if you have him. I mean, depending on who else you have. Allen or Brady? I would go with Brady. I need another running back and have DK, Thielen, and Mike Williams. Who do I trade? I would definitely try to trade Mike Williams off your team. Trade away Jefferson for CD PPR. I would want CD, yes. Yeah, Mike Williams. Yeah, well, Mike Williams, I mean, people definitely were talking about him this year. There's a lot of people that really liked him. Me personally, I didn't really like him, and that looked really bad in the beginning of the season. I just think, looking at his whole body it's not like he's a year 2 player or anything. We have a pretty large sample size for Mike Williams, and throughout his career, he's been an average player, okay? I just think that he's an average football player. He's just playing on a team that throws the ball a ton. Freeman or Ayuk? If Debo doesn't play this week, well, you're not going to know. I would just fire Freeman. Help, DJ Moore or Ayuk? DJ Moore. My core is Thielen, Lockett, D-Hop, Keenan, and Beasley. Pick 3 and start possibly a flex. I would go Thielen, Lockett, and I would go with Keenan. Those were the 3. And D-Hop would be the flex. What is this, his 4th year? I think it's his 5th year. Is it Mike Williams' 5th or 4th year? It might be his 4th year. Because this is his contract year. So it might be his 4th year. I think it's his 5th year, though. Yeah, it's his 5th year. This is his 5th year. So, yeah, we've had 4 years from Mike Williams. And, I mean, the stats are he's gone over 1,000 receiving yards one time. One time has gone over 1,000 receiving yards. His touchdowns from year to year have gone 0, 10, 2, 5, and 6. So, he's just, I'm sorry, but he's an average football player. And that's exactly what I said in the beginning of the year. It definitely didn't look good for the first, 6 games of the season. I was like, I guess I was definitely wrong in this one. I should have gotten on the Mike Williams hype, but now it's looking like it's going to even itself out. My dog, yo, what up? Been waiting for you to go live. Starters, Matt Ryan, Gaskin, Najee, Woods, Mike Williams, Hawkinson, A.J. Brown, and Flex. Javonte Williams, Goddard, and A.J. Dillon. Change anything? So me personally, I'd rather go Javonte Williams in my flex over Robert Woods. Just put A.J. Brown in my starter. But if you don't want to do that, I mean, it's totally up to you. That's what I would personally do. That's the only thing I would change, though. Who is your favorite player in the league currently playing? My favorite player, it's got to be Big Ben. I would say, probably Big Ben, Deontay Johnson, TJ Watt. Those are my favorite players. If I had to not be a biased fan, the guy that I would probably say it's between, I've had Aaron Jones on a lot of fantasy teams throughout the years. Even his rookie year, I had him on my team. So I'd probably say Aaron Jones or DeAndre Swift would be the 2 guys that I would pick. Maybe Zeke. I honestly might say Zeke because I've had Zeke in a ton of leagues throughout his rookie season as well. I've had plenty of shares of Zeke. So one of those guys. I missed your golfers standing in the background waiting for hours to fight. Yeah, what up, Fry? I missed that too. Maybe I'll get it back on. Would you trade CD for Keenan Allen? In my opinion, I like Keenan Allen because they pass a lot more. I mean, I personally I would stick with CD. But if you like it, I mean, go for it. I know you're a Steelers fan, but the Bears game was BS, right? No, well, I don't think anything was BS. Listen, that's what I'm going to say about the Steelers game. You take it or leave it. I don't care. Was the call the call that everybody's crying about is the unsportsmanlike conduct. Was it unsportsmanlike conduct in today's NFL? Yes, because they're focusing on it. All right, in my opinion, should that stuff be called? No, they shouldn't have all these stupid unsportsmanlike conducts. Go and look at. It's not just this game. It's all the games. People are constantly getting fined every single week because of these stupid. Next year, I hope they change it. They kind of always do this stuff where they give it a year, they put in the rules, and then they change it. It definitely needs to get changed. The unsportsmanlike conduct is absolutely terrible. I'd rather see guys getting up and being, emotional and celebrate than mindless drones out there because you have the butthurt PC community that cries about it. No, I'd rather see these guys get up there and celebrate is what I want to see, okay? Come on, man. The ref bumped into it. No, that's not why it was called. That's not why it was called. And there was no roughing the passer. Okay, listen, you're not a Steelers fan. You don't watch football. There's been plenty of times where Big Ben has been, not called for roughing the passer. It's just not consistent. It's a judgment call. But that's not why it was called for the unsportsmanlike conduct, because he got bumped into. That's not what it was called for. Because he took he was taking steps towards the sideline. He was running his mouth. I mean, that's what the ref thought he was doing, because, and that's why they called it. I mean, unfortunately, that it is what it is. That's what they've been calling literally the entire season, is BS unsportsmanlike conduct calls. It's not because he bumped into the ref. That's not why he got called it. Anyways, Cole Beasley or Singletary at flex. I would go Singletary if Zach Moss doesn't play. Pick two, or no, it was I. I know someone would mention the Bears game to you. Pick two. Hey, the Steelers still won. It's, one play doesn't define a game. The Bears sleeping through the first half. Be more upset about that if you're the Bears. James Conner, Patterson, or Mitchell. Pick two. I would go with James Conner, and if it's PPR, I would go with Mitchell. Should I trade Damian Harris for Brandon Cooks? I mean, I probably would. I would probably take the Brandon Cook side if you need a wide receiver. Yeah. Swift or Aaron Jones? I would take Swift right now. He's already at his bye. Murray or Wentz? Murray, Wentz, or Wilson? Murray, as long as he plays. Yeah. Come on, man. I mean, I will always go to your fantasy, but stop lying to yourself. What are you talking about? What am I lying about? See, here's the thing is that, okay, there's a few teams that everybody hates. And was the game, poorly called? Sure, it was poorly called. But come on, one play decided that game. This is what I hate about football fans when they say, oh, that one play decided the whole game. No, literally, there's how many plays do teams get? 50, 60 every single game? You're telling me one play decided the entire game? No. The Bears sleeping through the first half is what decided the game for them. That's what decided the game. What was the question again? I don't remember what the question was. Panic with Dalvin? No, don't panic. No, the league rules suck. NBA too. They better vote. No, I agree with that 100%. These stupid personal unsportsmanlike conducts are just so stupid right now. That by the rules, it's it's a judgment call. If the ref thought it was unsportsmanlike conduct, we can all sit here and say, it wasn't sportsmanlike conduct. If you go back and look at what these players are doing, it's so stupid right now. I just think entirely it's all so stupid right now. It's terrible. And it takes away from the game. As a fan, it definitely takes away from the game. It's not as enjoyable. Literally, there was times where I was checking out of that game because it was so boring. The NFL has become so manila anymore. Can't even touch a quarterback. It's so stupid. Marvin Jones, Landry, People-Jones, Freeman, or Ayuk. Pick two. I would go with Freeman, and I would go with I would honestly go with Marvin Jones, but if Debo doesn't play, I'd go Ayuk. What do I do with Joe Mixon? Hold on to Joe Mixon. I mean, he's been, basically a top 5 running back in fantasy football. No, the Bears are stupid. They had 13 penalties, but that taunting call did give the Steelers a first down on fourth down. No, and it, at the end of the game, did it help them win? Sure. But if you look at the entirety of the game, there was plays that the Bears definitely missed on that would have put them in better positions. It's not one play decides the game. That's the stupidest thing. I hope you bet on the spread, man. No, definitely. I literally said bet on this. The Steelers were definitely going to underperform this week. They're going to go out there and take care of business in Detroit, though. I'm betting Steelers spread there. But definitely, I was saying, since Thursday, take the spread for Chicago. This is going to be a game that's going to come down to the last-second field goal, because it always does with Steelers in this situation. I'm a Seattle fan, but the Steelers have a special place in my heart. But the league is soft and sometimes unwatchable. No, 100%. I agree with that 125%. Who's your favorite NFC teams? To root for? I mean, I only root for the Steelers. I can't be one of those people that say there's 2 teams I root for, 3 teams I root for. I root for the Steelers, and that's it. If there was no more NFL, if the Steelers completely didn't exist from, the guy eliminated from the NFL, I would become a Bills fan. My grandpa was a Bills fan. I went to a ton of Bills games as I was a kid. When I was a kid, Bills are really close to me. They're basically hometown. So I would be a Bills fan. But in terms of like, if you're talking who'd I like to come out of the AFC or NFC to win the Super Bowl, I would still say Tampa Bay. Like, to me, they're still they're my preseason favorite, and I would still say the favorite. Arizona, I know that, the Los Angeles Rams just got beat up on Sunday night, but I would still say them as well. Yeah, they had 4 offsides calls, and literally all of them were offside. Like, they're like, even I really don't like Greasy. I think that's who the announcer is. I really don't like him. But he kept saying, the entire time, look how they're lined up, and literally they're lined up offsides every single time. Who was it? Robert Quinn? Is that who it was? I think it was Robert Quinn. Do you think an AFC or NFC team will? I think honestly the Bucs are going to repeat. I think the Bucs are going to win again. Any uncle who died of cancer was a huge Steelers fan, had to sign Heinz Ward. Yeah, I mean, as long as there's like a little story behind it, I feel you. Like, that's why that's how I feel about the Bills. I'll always root for the Bills, not like root for them, but if the Steelers weren't a team anymore, I would absolutely become a Bills fan. Traded Deontay for Chris Carson. I got fleeced. I would want Deontay if that's what you're saying. But hey, Chris Carson come out and be good. Just traded Patterson for Deontay Johnson. Thoughts? I mean, I think that's a pretty fair trade. Would you rate my backfield Eckler, Montgomery, and Cordell? I would say honestly an A. I think that's really good. Straight up disrespected Najee Harris. Said he slept on the floor. Who said that? Who said that? CMC or Cook? I would go with Cook. Doesn't have a bye week. Pick a wide receiver to flex. Sutton, Bateman, Marvin Jones, Hines. I would go with Bateman, and I would go with Marvin Jones. Singletary, Kirk, Ayuk, or Pollard as my flex. Chubb is out. I would go with Singletary. If Moss is out, I would go with Singletary. I would go with Singletary. If Moss plays, then I would go with Christian Kirk. The announcer. Oh, did he? I missed that. Yeah, you're talking about Greasy? Are you talking about when he was talking about like his background? Is that what you're saying? Pick 2, rest of the season. Freiermuth, Knox, or Fan. I would go with Freiermuth and Knox. Made up stories saying he slept on the floor because it was comfortable. He apologized and donated to. Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Who's your absolutely least favorite team in the league? I would say the Ravens, by far. I hate the Ravens. I hate the Ravens. As a Steelers fan, especially like, as a younger Steelers fan, like in college when I was like, I mean, I'm still super into football, obviously, but I'm very passionate about the Steelers, but I've definitely like taken a step back a little bit just because, like, dude, I used to get like, shaky. Like for the Chicago game, I was totally like cool as a cucumber. If they would have lost, I wouldn't have cared. Where like, 5 years ago, I'd be like shaking, so nervous, and I was like, dude, this is just like, it's an NFL game. Like, I'm not gonna get this worked up about a football game. It's just not worth it. Like why do I care so much? Obviously, I'm a huge fan, but like, I'm not going to put myself through this crap. But I would say like during those years, there were so many good battles with Joe Flacco, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, James Harrison, Big Ben. That was, to me, that was the prime rivalry of the NFL. And forever, I will hate the Ravens because of those years. I couldn't stand Joe Flacco. Wait, not the boys? No, I don't. I don't like the boys for sure, but I would definitely say the Ravens. I hate the Ravens right next to Cincinnati because that Cincinnati cost us the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, Pittsburgh would have won the Super Bowl that year if Antonio Brown doesn't get knocked out of that game by Perfect. Hate the Bengals for that. We'll always forever dislike the Bengals for that. You think Big Ben retires after this year? I sure hope so. Favorite NBA team? I would say Sixers. Terrible. Starters: Dak, Mitchell, Jerrell Williams, Darnold, Dan Arnold, McLaurin, Kupp, and Beasley as flex. Singletary and AJ Dillon. Change anything? What if Zach Moss is out? I would put Singletary in for Beasley. Otherwise, I would keep it as is, Jonathan. Yeah. You think Pippen? I hope he retires, to be honest with you. Kittle or Zach Moss? I would go with Kittle. Should I trade DJ Moore for Brandon Cooks next week? Yeah, I would do that. Yeah. How do you feel about Montgomery for the rest of the season? I think he's solid. I think he's like I would say a high-end RB2 is where I would rank him. Perfect was a menace to society when he played. Yes, I hated him. Steelers want to have beat the Broncos at... Yo, what are you talking about? The Steelers literally would have won that game if Fitzgerald Toussaint didn't fumble the ball while the Steelers were driving. Like, the Steelers had that game won. Fitzgerald Toussaint fumbled the ball, and they ended up losing because of that. Denver went down and kicked a field goal. That was an extremely close game, and Big Ben almost won it with Martavius Bryant. Okay, let's look at it right now. Let's look at it. Steelers versus Broncos playoff. 2000 was it 2016? Is that what it was? 23. Okay, yes. Big Ben threw for 339 yards without Antonio Brown. I don't even think Marcus Wheaton was playing. Without AB, he didn't even have Le'Veon Bell that game. Fitzgerald Toussaint fumbles the ball. I think that's when the Bengals might have went, or the Broncos might have went down there and scored. It was a close game. Fitzgerald Toussaint fumbles the ball, they lose. If Le'Veon Bell was in there and AB, like, Steelers easily would have beat them and went to the Super Bowl and won 100%. Steelers were the best team, best offense during that time. The Steelers were so good offensively with AB, with Le'Veon Bell. Like, they were stacked. Why did he fumble though? Because he was a practice squad player. Fitzgerald Toussaint, that's when they had D'Angelo Williams and Le'Veon Bell. Both of them were out. Fitzgerald Toussaint was a practice squad player. That's why he fumbled the ball. That's why, like, because he was bad at football. That's why. It wasn't because, yeah, sure, it was probably a good defensive play, but also he's a practice squad guy that got promoted and had no business starting. That's why he got, it wasn't, like, I just remember that Martavius Bryant caught against the Bengals where he caught it in between his legs. Yeah, he was good, and then he had off the field issues. Even if they would not have beat New England. Well, considering, I'm sorry, but you don't know what you're talking about because they would have. They would have. No, I'm just kidding. They probably wouldn't have beat New England. Actually, wasn't that the... I got to double check this. What was that playoff game? Let me double check this right quick. 2016, right? No, this was it. Yeah. Are you sure they even played the Broncos that year? Or they played them that year? 2016. I don't think did they play them that year? AFC, did they play? They might have played them. Broncos versus Patriots. Is this when the Patriots were, who do they have? Gronk. Ooh, look at Gronk. Gronk was so good. Julian Edelman. Yeah, they probably wouldn't have beaten them. But that was at Denver, right? Yeah. I think the game would have been, at New England. You're right. They probably wouldn't have beaten them. But that's fair. That's fair to say. All right? That's fair. I'll give you that. All right? I'll give you that. That's fair. What happened to Dre Archer? Man was a beast in Madden. He sucked in real life. He's a tough one. Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin. Bill Cowher. Mike Tomlin's more of a player coach. All right, enough talk about the Steelers. Come on now. You guys keep getting me to talk about the Steelers. I don't even want to talk about the Steelers. You guys keep talking about them. I don't want to talk about them. I don't want to talk about the Steelers, all right? I want to talk fantasy. I don't want to talk about the Steelers anymore. Mixon or Montgomery and Amari. Mixon for Montgomery and Amari. If you need like a wide receiver, I'd probably do it. Otherwise, I would just keep Mixon. If Chubb doesn't play, do I start Jordan Howard or Drake? I would go with Jordan Howard. I would go with Jordan Howard. Trade CD for Justin Jefferson. Did I win? I'd rather have CD personally. But if you like, I feel like it's really close between both these guys. They're in the same tier. So if you like Justin Jefferson, go for it. I think that's fine. Thielen for CD. I would want CD, yes. Dalvin playing this week after the lawsuit filed against them. Yeah. Okay, so I feel like I should make a video on this. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. But this is my take on it real quick. This is my take on it real quick. All right. Really fast. Dalvin Cook, look at what's going on with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's still able to play. He just doesn't want to play. That's why he's not playing. He's not on the commissioner's exempt list. I think the same thing's going to happen with Dalvin Cook. The NFL drags their feet when it comes to stuff like this. They kind of let the situation play out. They'll probably do their own probe after, whatever, like if it's going to be it's not criminal, so I don't think there's going to actually be investigation, but like once this plays out, like they always drag their feet, so they're going to let this play out. I don't anticipate anything happening with Dalvin Cook this year. It's going to be next year. I don't really got fantasy questions. I just like talking to you, my man. No, I appreciate it, but I could go on for the Steelers. If you had to bet your life on one game, the 2007 Patriots with Moss, or the 2019, who puts up more points offensively? I would say the Patriots. I think the Patriots were that year with the Patriots, they were an unstoppable force. I think that was probably the best offensive team that I've ever witnessed. Not only were they really good offensively, but they were also so good defensively. Like that was probably the best. They were definitely robbed a perfect season. We should have seen a perfect season of that Patriots team that year. They were amazing. They're like, you talk about perfect systems, perfect personnel, perfect time and place. Like that was the Patriots 2017 or 2007. They should have beaten the New York Giants. That's my take. Pick up Madison, have to drop Miles Sanders for the rest of the season. There's nobody else. That's literally it. Is Jonathan Taylor going to continue to be good? Absolutely, yes. I talked about in my video. If you haven't, listen, I know that sometimes it may be tough to watch me talk for, 10 minutes what my buy list is for my video. I highly suggest it, though, because I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I do put a lot of time and research into what I'm talking about. I don't just kind of BS my way through a lot of this stuff. I mean, some of this stuff, obviously, like about the Steelers, that's just total facts, all right? The Steelers are the greatest team ever in history of the NFL. That's just facts. That's factual information, all right? But like my video on the buy players that I'm talking about, like to me, there's a few stats that are really I want to say predictive, that show you how good a player actually is in football. You want yards after contact. I think that's a really big stat. Guys that are able to fight through the first contact, finish runs, huge in the NFL. So you're looking at yards after contact per attempt, and then also breakaway percentage mixed in with rushes of 10 yards or more, because it shows the explosiveness of a player. And then the breakaway percentage kind of offsets players that have a lot of volume and don't really see those big runs. So that kind of offsets the rushes of 10 yards or more. So we look at those three stats. All right. In the video, I talk about this. There's 5 players in those 3 stats that are inside the top 5 of each stat. Those 3 players are Jonathan Taylor, honestly one of the best running backs in the NFL. Nick Chubb, I've said this multiple times. I think that he is the best pure running back in the NFL. I don't care if you're talking Derrick Henry. To me, Nick Chubb, for me, is the best pure running back in the NFL. Then you have James Robinson. I think James Robinson is one of the most underrated running backs in the NFL, who gets hate because he was an undrafted free agent. Elijah Mitchell's in that, and Devonte Williams. So for me, like if you're looking at guys to try to trade for, that's why. I don't even know why I went on that tangent, but Jonathan Taylor. Like very, very good at football. Got offered, 2013, 2014 Seattle over any team. That team with the Legion, that team was really good. But I'll take the Patriots. 2007 Patriots. Got offered Najee Harris and Keenan Allen for Jonathan Taylor and Deontay Johnson. I don't know what to do. I would take the Najee Harris, Keenan Allen side. Both of them had their bye week, personally. I would do that side. What kind of value you could get out of D-Hop right now? I mean, I don't think enough. I would just hang on to him personally. Pick 2. We got D-Hop, Waller, Swift for flex. I would go with Waller and Swift. Rate my fantasy team. Guess my record. Russ, Dalvin, Terry, Antonio Brown, Gronk, A-Rob. I mean, I would say a B. I feel like your record's probably like 2-7. 3-6. Yeah, I was joking. That team was beautiful, though. No, that team was really good. Don't get me wrong. That Legion of Boom team was amazing. Dalvin or Swift? Rest of the season, I'd go with Dalvin. Should I trade T. Higgins and Aaron Jones for Montgomery and Gibson and Lockett? I probably wouldn't. Honestly, I would just hold what you have. I traded Kamara and D-Hop for CMC and Mike Evans. W? Yeah, that's a W. I like that trade. Is DJ Moore for Montgomery a good trade? Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Would you trade DK and Josh Jacobs for Najee and T. Higgins? Yeah, I would do that. Absolutely, I would do that. Do I start Ayuk or Sutton or Claypool if Claypool plays? I would go with Claypool if he plays, and then Ayuk over Sutton. Jordan Howard, Devonte Smith. Will DJ Moore come back to life or stay in the decline? I think that with CMC, I just think that this offense gets a little bit better. And honestly, PJ Walker can't be much worse than Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's been awful. What happened to Marlon Mack? I thought the dude was an RB1. The Achilles, that's why I'm a little bit nervous for Cam Akers. The Achilles, I think, is just massive. And also the emergence of, I mean, he was really good, but he wasn't very good at receiving the ball out of the backfield. And Jonathan Taylor should have been drafted by the Chiefs. What a stupid, even at the time I was saying, what a stupid decision to draft CEH. That was so dumb. You could draft Swift, but it's still Jonathan Taylor was clearly the best running back in the draft class. I don't know. I don't understand why. I think Swift is a really good football player. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think that Swift is better than Jonathan Taylor, and I don't think that CEH is better than Jonathan Taylor. I can't believe that the both of them did that. It doesn't make any sense. Do I start Wilson this week? I have Kirk and Tua. Yes, I would fire up Wilson. Should I sell Zeke right now? No. If I start Sutton over Ayuk, would it be bad to I'd have Kittle, Ayuk, and Elijah Mitchell starting? No, I don't think that'd be bad. Honestly, I like Elijah Mitchell. I don't feel great about Ayuk if Debo plays, to be honest with you. But with Sutton, he's just not seeing a good target share with Jerry Jeudy back. I mean, Jerry Jeudy had a 30% target share this past weekend. He's clearly the alpha in this offense. Jordan Howard or Van Jefferson, full point PPR. I would go with Van Jefferson and full point PPR. Trade away Kupp for Arizona's defense, Swift and Tyreek. Yeah, I would do that. Who should I trade Damian Harris for? It's really hard for me to say. Just go look for a team that needs a running back and make trade offers. Bridgewater, Tua, Heineke. I'm sorry, I missed this one. Would you rather have Najee or Swift rest of the season? I'd rather have Najee just because you get basically Swift's production in terms of the receiving game, and then also just better rushing attempts. Clearly the guy around the goal line, they really want to get him the ball, so I would go with Najee. Just more of a workload, consistent workload. Have you ever done a league where you choose a team and then pick every player on that team? Me and my friends are thinking, no, I've never done one. I've heard about it. I've never done one. Should I sell Zeke? No. Russ or Carr? Russ. Trust that Rodgers to start or pick up Heineke or Big Ben. Well, what time is that game? When is that game? Isn't that? Oh, that game's at 4. No, okay, so so with Rodgers, what I saw, I could be wrong about this, is that he has to be cleared. He can be cleared Saturday, I believe. I could be wrong about that. Let me know in chat, but I believe he's going to be cleared Saturday if he's able to play. So at that point, you'll know. If he's cleared, then yeah, absolutely fire him up. Who do you think has a better, is Khalil Herbert safe to drop? Yeah, he is. Ozai, yeah. Who do you think who has a better 10-year span offensively, Herbert or Burrow? I would probably go with Burrow just because his weapons are younger. Really, the only thing that they really need right now is an offensive line. Keep upgrading the offensive line. But you're going to have Jamar Chase for a while. You're going to have T. Higgins for a while. Tyler Boyd, I think he's getting up there in terms of his rookie contract. Probably going to be a free agent here within the next 2 years. So maybe you have to replace him. But I would say Burrow just because the offense is better. You have Keenan Allen. I think he's 30 years old, right? Or 29. So he's getting up there. I don't think that they re-signed Mike Williams. So, yeah. I would say Burrow just because the better. He's probably going to have more stability around him in terms of the skills players. Mike Williams bounced back this week. I don't think so. He could, but Goff gone next year. I think Geno Smith could take his job, in my opinion. I think Goff will be gone. Russ or Carr? I would go with Russ. Keenan Allen or Justin Jefferson rest of the season? I would go with Justin Jefferson. Is Tyler Boyd safe to drop? Yeah. With the two alphas back, T. Higgins and, Jamar Chase, yeah, he's safe to drop. Start Rashad Bateman or Javonte Williams? Please let me know. I would go with Javonte Williams. Dearness Johnson or Elijah Mitchell? I would go with Elijah Mitchell still. It's really, really close. Both these guys are ranked right next to each other in my rankings. So I really like Dearness Johnson a lot this year. Or without Nick Chubb if Nick Chubb doesn't play. Freeman or Antonio Gibson? I'm going Freeman. I would go Freeman. Trade Adams and Montgomery's for Aaron Jones and Debo. I'd probably do that, yeah. Are you worried about the Bills after that loss or no? No. Every team has a bad loss throughout the season, have a couple bad losses. This was a really bad loss for the Bills. I expect them to bounce back in a big way. And honestly, this is how big I'm expecting them to bounce back. Right now, the spread is at 13. I'm taking Bills plus or minus 13. I'm taking the Bills minus 13. Who should I try to get from Mahomes wide receiver wise? I mean, it's really tough to say. Like, just go look for a team that needs a quarterback and start sending out offers. Top 3 teams of all time, it's really hard to say. I guess more of top 3 teams that I've watched in my lifetime, I would say that's fair. Like, I don't want to compare teams that I've never watched because I don't think that's fair. So one team I would say, for me, the best team I've ever watched was that 2007 Patriots team. I would say that's team number 1. I would say I was too young to really say the greatest show on turf. I was really young. I definitely remember watching them play in that Super Bowl, but it would be too hard for me to say them. I was too young. So I would say the Legion of Boom team, and then obviously I'm going with I'm being a homer, and I'm going with the Pittsburgh team that beat Arizona. What year was that? Was that 06? Was that 06? Just because that Steelers defense was amazing. Like, you talk about the Legion of Boom. Let's talk about that, steel curtain that Steelers had that year, that even in the first Super Bowl. But I just think that the Steelers offense was much better at that time when they went to the Super Bowl. But like James Harrison was a beast. You even had Ryan Clark on that defense. We had Troy Polamalu, Ike Taylor. You had what was his name? You had Cam Casey Hampton, but who was the Keith? Man, I can't remember. Kiesel. They had Kiesel. They had what was the dude's name? Aaron Smith. You had James Ferrier. Like that dude. That team was so good. Tyler, can you only see his question like Mahomes, one if he knows your roster? I just noticed Kamara has an injury. Know the severity of it. So I think he has a high ankle sprain. That's what I kind of saw. And if that's the case, he's going to probably miss a couple weeks. Not a Steelers fan, but that Big Ben AB Le'Veon combo was automatic. That was. But I want to say one of those teams because they never won the Super Bowl. I would say the year that they beat the Arizona Cardinals in the Super Bowl, that defense was, my gosh, that defense was amazing. That defense was so good then. Like, that was, you talk about some of the greatest defenses that I've watched, and Baltimore was up there too. Legion of Boom. I mean, the Patriots defenses have had some really great defenses over the year, but I mean, I'm biased, but also I just think the stats also kind of talk about that defense and how historic that defense was. Especially getting after the quarterback. I mean, my gosh, you think they're good now, but is DJ Moore for Montgomery a good trade? DJ Moore for Montgomery. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair, honestly. Schultz or Dawson Knox, I would go with Schultz. But that Steelers combo, yes, of the Bell, Antonio Brown, they unfortunately they could have definitely went to the Super Bowl, I think, but they just never were all healthy at the same time. It would be like Le'Veon Bell would be hurt for one of the playoff series, Or, they were all healthy against Jacksonville, and then, Ben Roethlisberger stunk up the joint for the first half, and they lost. But, gosh. Santonio Holmes was dirty with the toe tap. Just butchered his name, though. Santonio Holmes was a beat. He was a beat. In their primes, who wins in the street, James Harrison or Mike Tyson? I would say Mike Tyson still. Mike Tyson was a bad dude. But James Harrison, no joke. I would never want to see that dude on the street. Absolutely. Actually, that'd probably be a good fight. But because if James Harrison can at least not get knocked out with that first punch, he'd probably be able to get Mike Tyson on the ground. That would be a good fight. But if you're talking like straight boxing, I guess I would definitely take 100% Mike Tyson. But I guess in the street, that would be a really good fight for sure. That would be a really good street fight in the street. Schultz or Conklin? Schultz. Should I start Wentz or Carr this week? I would go with Wentz. Starts threes. We got Swift, Keenan, Deontay, Waddle, Hill. I would go with Keenan, Deontay, Hill. Troy Polamalu was so dirty and never gave up on any play. Tony, he was amazing. I don't get me started on Troy. I think Troy was the greatest safety I've ever watched. I love Ed Reed. I thought I hate the Ravens, but Ed Reed was a fantastic player. But Troy Polamalu did it all. Like, he came down to the line. He basically would play linebacker. He was, not as good as Ed Reed in coverage, but was definitely a ball hawk, closed on the ball, make massive hits. I think Troy Polamalu was the greatest safety I've ever watched. Also, once again, a little bit biased for sure, but amazing. Is Chris Carson a long-term RB, or should the Seattle draft one? I think that they've tried to draft some. It hasn't panned out. I don't think he's a long-term RB, just the health. Should I trade Jamar Chase for DeAndre Swift? I would want DeAndre Swift, yes. Pick up Madison, have to drop Miles Sanders for the rest of the season. I would go, honestly, okay, so you could drop Bateman. I'd rather drop Bateman, personally, if you're not playing him. Don't forget Shazier. Yeah, well, that's also, yes, I also think that's kind of what robbed the Steelers of really being good as well, is that Shazier, their defense was, you could definitely see the strides with the defense because Shazier was young. When Shazier was healthy and playing well, that defense was really solid, because that's what the Steelers really need for the type of defense that they run. They need that athletic linebacker in the middle of the defense. If they don't have that, they're absolutely trash. And the Shazier injury totally derailed their season, 100%. After Shazier got hurt, that defense was just not anywhere near the same. And then also you have the Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and then they had to draft. Yeah, definitely. I did forget about that. That's a good call. Ozai, who's a closet Steelers fan. Cam Chancellor was a beast too. He was a beast. Linebacker at safety, no, for sure. That Legion of Boom was I got PTSD with the Cardinals guy against the Packers. Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a sad. I don't care who you are, what fan you are. Shazier is definitely, it's, people always say they get paid millions to play a game, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you also have to consider that that's a real possibility, that they could, they're sometimes risking their lives. They're definitely their livelihood out there. It's definitely really rare that something like that happens, but it still happens, 100%. And here's my favorite person in chat, webcam HD. Watch high definition girls here. Yo, what it do, baby? Who was more reliable as a wide receiver, Larry or Hines Ward? I would say Larry, definitely. Like, Larry's one of the greatest ever, but Hines Ward was definitely underrated because Larry also blocked like Hines Ward. Hines Ward was, definitely underrated. That dude didn't give a, and I just love that Hines Ward was always smiling. That was the greatest thing about Hines Ward. I remember he took a massive hit. He did like a backwards flip, was getting crushed, and the entire time the camera zooms in on his face, and he's just got a big smile on his face. That was the great thing about Hines Ward. He was always smiling. That dude was always out there smiling. I loved it. No matter fan what you are, you watch that game. It was no, for real. That game was sad. That game was really sad. It was one of those things that definitely, like, there's those times in sports that I'm sure everybody can kind of relate to this in sports where there's just, it's more than just sports. Like trying to put into words, like kind of what happened with Kobe Bryant. I don't care what you say about what, whether Kobe or Bryant did this or did this, or you hated Kobe Bryant as a player, but like as a human being, flying to his daughter's basketball game, terrible tragedy. Like, to me, I was just always a big Kobe fan. And like, that was just a time where it's bigger than sports. You know what I mean? It's just like, it was a sad day. Like, I was honestly affected by it. I don't know Kobe Bryant. He didn't know I even existed. I knew he existed. He was a big fan of mine. Or I was a big fan of his throughout the years. So like, it was just one of those things that definitely just, it affects you. Like, and that's just kind of sports. Yeah, it was a terrible. Yeah, exactly. Didn't that D'Angelo Williams leave the NFL and become a WWE? Yes, he did. He loved that. As a Bengals fan, I hated him, but man, he good and always destroyed us. Who was that? Who was that? Hines Ward, you're saying? Oh, real quick. Okay, should I trade Patterson for Dalvin Cook? Even with I would want Dalvin Cook. Yes. Do you think Lamb will be bad for fantasy because of Gallup coming back this week? No, I don't think so. Trade Connor for Henderson? I would want Henderson, yes. Najee and DK for Tyreek, Keenan Allen, and Terry? I'd rather keep Najee side. Smash that like button, y'all. Yeah, appreciate it. If you smash that like button, really helps channel. Appreciate it. Should I trade DJ Moore or Amari Cooper for Keenan Allen PPR? I would go with DJ Moore. I would try to train. Yeah, Hines Ward. No, Hines Ward. Those games were always good too. Like the Bengals back in the day, especially when they had like Carson Palmer. Good matchups there as well. But Hines Ward, I mean, he always killed a lot of guys. And that's when, I mean, I totally get it. The NFL, they got all these lawsuits and everything, but that's really when the NFL was great. Like you had NFL is really good right now because you had the high offense, the high octane offenses. But like back then, the defense was on another level. Like you could crush guys coming across the middle. You could absolutely light them up and everything. Yeah, I get it. They had to protect the players and the player safety. But at the same time, man, that was some good football back in the day with those late hits. I'll never forget it. This was just like talking about when what's the dude's name? I forget what his name is. The defensive tackle for the Ravens that was good, really, really good a few years back. The defensive tackle, he was like a Hawaiian guy. I forget what his name was. But when he punched Ben Roethlisberger in the face, coming over, it was definitely a blow to the head, but gets through his face mask, punches Ben Roethlisberger in the face, and his nose is broken and bleeding. Like, that was football, baby. That was football. That's football right there. Ryan, that is what I'm doing right now. This is so much easier to talk to, and I had to copy and paste questions like 10 minutes in TikTok. Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely a lot easier. I don't know if you remember this, but by far the funniest NFL moment was Hasselbeck saying, "We want the ball and we're going to score," and then proceeded to throw a pick six. Back then, when you heard of the Steelers, you thought of some of the animals on defense that just didn't. Exactly. That's when the NFL was not trying to really protect players. I mean, definitely we're trying to protect them more as years progress. Yeah, Haloni Nada. That was it. Haloni Nada. Yes, that was exactly it. Elijah Mitchell on waivers, putting a claim on him. Absolutely do that. 100%. Haloti Nada. That was the guy. Yes. Punch Ben Roethlisberger in the face. Big old Ben got a bloody nose. That's what the rivalry was. After last week's performance for Buffalo, would you start Emmanuel Sanders this week? I also have Jerry Jeudy Waddle. I would go with Jerry Jeudy over Emmanuel Sanders right now, yes. Mahomes and Pitts for Hawkinson and Dak. I would rather have the Mahomes side personally. Trade Thielen. I guess maybe the other side because they've already had their bye. I feel like it's a horse piece, and whoever you like more, I would just go with it. Ayuk or Van Jefferson. I would go with Ayuk. Should I trade Jamar Chase for Cordell Patterson? Need a running back? I feel like you could do better for Jamar Chase, to be honest with you. I probably wouldn't do that. Here's my wide receiver core: AJ Brown, Jacoby Myers, Marvin Jones, Rashad Bateman, Ayuk. That's decent. I mean, definitely like a better wide receiver too, but I think that, maybe we can get, what's his face there? Ayuk, possibly. I missed the Ravens-Steelers games back in the day, black and blue day. Those were, honestly, I think once again, a little bit biased, but I just think that was the best rivalry in the height of the prime of the two teams' primes, where it was constantly a battle for the division, and also possible Super Bowl contenders. Like, to me, that was the prime. That was the prime NFL years that I will forever miss until the Steelers, are good again. I don't think they're very good right now. But those were the prime NFL years for me in college, coming home, for the weekends, getting some buffalo chicken wing dip, sitting there with my family, watching the Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, Sunday Night Football. Oh, man. I went to so many Sunday Night Football. I think there was actually like only 2 of them, but still, there's more than 2. But 2 Sunday Night Football games I'll always remember. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Love those days. With CT and all the concussion stuff, no. I agree 100%. They definitely had to get more involved in all the lawsuits. 100%. Absolutely. Jerrell Williams. What about Jerrell Williams? Should I start Waddle or Lockett? I would go Lockett. Do you think Mitchell struggles this week against a tough matchup? Kind of thinking about starting Singletary. Okay, so yes, I do like Singletary if Zach Moss is out. I do like Singletary more than Elijah Mitchell this week if Zach Moss is out. If he's not out, then no, I would still go with Mitchell. Those black and yellow striped jerseys were so nice. Always warranted. Yes, I did like those jerseys as well. I know exactly what you're talking about. Knox versus Jets or off injury or Dan Arnold. I would go, if Knox plays this week, I would probably play him. Otherwise, Dan Arnold's a fine play as well. What running backs do you think I can sell Jamar Chase for? I have Aaron Jones and Gaskin. I feel like for Jamar Chase, you could probably, and it doesn't have to be just Jamar Chase. Maybe throw in like a lesser running back and try to get like a DeAndre Swift, Leonard Fournette, a guy like, I would say Darrell Henderson is something like that. My best football memories was Indy versus Pats. Those were good ones too, definitely. Ozai, what about, the Cowboys versus any team? Really over the past, nearly 30 years, they've been pretty bad, huh? They've been pretty bad. The 90s, the early 90s, they were pretty good. Sup, brother? CMC and Hubbard for Eckler and Woods. I didn't trust CMC, so trying to get rid of him. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good trade. I would do that. And Eckler's already had his bye week as well, yeah. I don't know if you watch the NBA, but do you have any opinion on Nikola Jokic? Is that how you say his name? Jokic, right? Honestly, I don't really watch I don't really pay attention to basketball. I will once the NFL, I'm really somebody who can only focus on one thing because I get obsessive about it. So I only focus on football. I probably will start watching, once football season is getting closer to being over, I'll definitely start picking up on hockey and basketball. But right now, it's just I'm just so set on football. I don't watch basketball right now. And the Sixers, they suck. I mean, have they been sucking this year? I couldn't even tell you. What a waste. Trust the process, huh? Gosh, trash. Absolutely trash. Jerrell Williams, what do we do with him? I mean, I would just hang on to him right now. I don't know. I don't think CEH comes back this week. Maybe he does. And if he does, then put him in your bench. I would hang on to him though. Make sure CEH gets through a good game, full game, and see kind of what the split is between those guys. Russ, Carr, or Hurts? I would go with Hurts. How do you feel about Chris Carson, and if I should trade him? I mean, I would definitely try to trade him before he comes back. My opinion. I would sell high. Jets versus Pats in 1 year when they had Eric Decker and they beat the Pats in OT. It was on my Christmas break. I don't remember that, to be honest with you. Islanders, baby. I'm island boy. Are you just I'm just an island boy? Is that what you're saying? I'm just island boy? Because if CMC gets hurt again, he's likely done for a year. I'd agree with that, Ruckus. 100%. Like we saw last year. Yeah, I was a wee lad in Aikman days, but still remember, watched Romo, pretty nostalgic, was struggled hard finding a QB for a while. Definitely. And the thing with Tony is that I did love Tony, but just especially later, he just could never stay healthy. He couldn't stay healthy. Should I trade Gibson for Montgomery? I would want Montgomery, yeah. Nah, the New York Islanders, man. Nah, you're just an island boy. I'm just an island boy. No, the Islanders. No, you like the Flyers. Go Flyers, baby. Thoughts on Aaron Jones moving forward in PPR? I still like him. I think he's a great buy low candidate right now. Jerrell Williams, James Robinson, Jerry Jeudy, Waddle, pick 3. I would sit out of all of them. I would sit Jerrell Williams. Should I trade Gibson for Montgomery? I would want Montgomery, yes. And real quick, if you haven't already, do me a big favor, smash that like button. Also, I'm going to hop off here in a few. I'll be going live 2 times tomorrow. I'll be going live in the afternoon, and then I'll also be going live later at night before the game. So I'll be going live 2 times. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, and real quick, if you enjoy the content, maybe you enjoy talking to me, you want to support the channel, sign up to be a member. All you got to do is click, you got to type in !membership. It's as low as $2.99. You support the channel, and it helps support me, but at the same time, it also helps you because you get a green name tag, you get a little badge next to your name, and you get your questions answered 100% of the time. 100% of the time, you get your questions answered. You can't beat that. You know what I mean? Also, over on Patreon, you can check out my Patreon. I have my rankings up. I don't have my flex rankings yet. That is something I need to finalize. I was over at my parents' tonight, so I wasn't able to finish it. But yeah. Thank God you're still live. I'm always live, baby. Sell Jamar Chase for Leonard Fournette. I would want Leonard Fournette, yes. Please not TikTok again. I can't deal with that. What do you mean? Oh, live on TikTok. I got to go live on TikTok. I'll be going live early on TikTok, though. But my phone's dead right now, so I'm off on TikTok. Trade Mixon for Cook. Thoughts? Mixon for Cook? Yeah, I would do that, honestly. Here's my take on Dalvin Cook, because a lot of people have been... should I make a video on Dalvin Cook? Do you guys think that will get views? Should I make a video on kind of like you know, how I do like my reactionary type of video where it's like a minute long? Should I do one on Dalvin Cook? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. What do you guys think? Should I give my thoughts on Dalvin Cook? I don't know if other YouTubers have done it. I haven't really checked. But let me know what you guys think. Kenyon Drake or Singletary if Moss doesn't play? Singletary. I would probably go Singletary regardless, to be honest with you. What wide receivers should I target for Javonte Williams? Honestly, I would just hang on to him. I would hang on to Javonte Williams. All right, I'm in school, so I'll come to the one before the game. All right. Sounds good, Ryan. We appreciate you answering every single question for the most part, bro. I know it's hard work. Members for life. Appreciate you, Jonathan. I'll always answer your questions. If you're a member, 100%. Sometimes I might go on a rant. I might, miss your question, but always try to answer it. Yes, please, make a video. I don't even know what happened. Everyone says something different. Okay, I'll make a video. Is Leonard Fournette a top 10 for the rest of the season? I would say I would say an RB1, yeah. I would say a back end RB1. Maybe not so much top 10, like top 12, yeah. Facts, regrets, no regrets not buying membership. Appreciate it. Thank you. Jamar McNichols for Kamara. I would do that, yeah. Yeah, I would probably do that. I would do that, Angel. I want Javonte Williams for a wide receiver. Who to target? So, like, if you're trading away Javonte Williams, I guess wide receivers that I'd be trying to trade for, you probably have to put him in. But I would be trying to target, like, Jerry Jeudy right now would be a guy. Brandon Cooks would be another guy I would be trying to target right now. T. Higgins would be another guy I would be trying to target right now. So, yeah. Patterson, top 10. Patterson is, I would say in PPR, definitely. Like, I would say top 12 as well. Gaskin or Gibson this week? Gaskin. Should I trade Thielen and Elijah Moore for D-Hop? I guess. I feel like it's pretty even. I've got Debo. Honestly, I'd rather have Thielen because he's already had his bye week. I've got Debo. Any concern with Ayuk getting more reps? No, I don't. The biggest concern for Debo should be his health. I think that's the biggest concern for me with Debo is just the health. I think that the calf injuries is, I know that the first week it wasn't that bad, but like let's think to like George Kittle, how that calf injury was out for a long time. I mean, you're just now having Michael Gallup should finally be back with that calf injury. Nick Chubb has been hampered by this calf injury all season long. I just think it's more of the health right now than actual like usage from other players. Hawkinson or Pitts rest of the season? I'd rather have Pitts. What to do with T. Higgins if he's on my bench? I want to target a running back for flex, or should I hold? I mean, always be sending, right? Always be sending. But I do like T. Higgins moving forward. He's seeing a larger target share. His air yards have been pretty solid. I just think that once you start scoring touchdowns, he's a wide receiver too. So it kind of like the I would hold on to him, but if like once again, always be sending. Thoughts on Najee for his tough playoff schedule? Can I trust him? Absolutely. He's one of those guys. It doesn't matter what the matchup is. Against the Bears, it was not a good matchup, and you still see him score 16 points. He's a volume. He's a high-end wide RB1 every single week, just due to volume and his work in the receiving game. Good trade. Chris Carson and Woods for Mixon. Yeah, I would want Mixon. Yeah. Justin Jefferson or Thielen. I would want Justin Jefferson. Ayuk or Bateman. This week I would go with Bateman. All right, and that concludes it. I'm going to hop off for the night. Once again, I'll be going live twice tomorrow, so make sure you check that out. I'll make the YouTube video on Dalvin Cook and what my thoughts on Dalvin Cook. I'll post that right after this, so I'll make it real quick and I'll post it. Yes, sir. I always love be sending my team, but I'm solid. Josh Allen, Eckler, Najee, Justin Jefferson, DK, Pitts, and Lamb. Really solid. Really solid, Ryan. So I'm going to hop off. I'll make that video right now, and I'll post it probably within like the next 15 minutes or so. So make sure you check that out. Thoughts on Pittman rest of the season? I mean, I like Pittman a lot. I think he's a really good player. Maybe like kind of a sell high on Pittman just because you're going to have T.Y. Hilton coming back, and also pretty sure do they still have their bye week? Colts bye week. Do they still have their bye week coming up? Week 14? Yeah. It just depends. Good night, Tyler. Peace out. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks, man. Peace out.